and, give y'all some details on what's going down with Invicta on September 17th, who's fighting and what weight classes we got. And next up, another interesting topic, that a lot of people, they've been having mixed feelings on Paige Van Zandt, since she left the UFC. They thought she would go to Bellator, but instead she chose to sign a multi-fight deal with BKFC, Bare Knuckle Boxing Fighting Championship organization. So, yeah, I want to give you my thoughts on that as well. Also, we got fights coming up this weekend. Felice Herrig versus Verna Jandiroba, and Olivia Renata Souza versus Ashley Yoda. Also, Cynthia Calvillo versus Lauren Murphy. That fight's going to be coming up. I just got to make sure I got the right date for it. I think they're going for, I think it's going for like November, but, I'll pull that up here in a minute. And yeah, just a couple other topics, that just pop up that I wanted to speak on. But yeah, first up, man, Invicta FC 42 is going down September 17th. And yeah, Invicta's been staying pretty consistent with the cards, had 2 in July, and now they're going to put together another one in September. And like I said, one of the things I like about Invicta, you got different levels of fighters. You got the former UFC fighters. You got the top level fighters in Invicta. You got fighters making their pro debut. So it's different levels to it. It's just like some boxing cards. Guys make their pro debut all the way up to, the main event, which is the champion. So it's a good organization for a lot of the women that's on to come up. Got atom weights. You got every division versus like something like Bellator. Bellator doesn't have a bantamweight division. So as far as I know, so they mainly focus like on the flyweight division. But, with Invicta, you got all kinds of organizations. I mean, you got all types of divisions. You got all the divisions there. You got the atom weights, straw weights, flyweights, featherweights, whatever, so that's what makes it more interesting for me. You got those different weight classes. But coming up this 17th in September, we got 6 fights going down in all these different weight classes. So far, this is the card we got right here. It hasn't changed yet, but we got a strawweight fight between Jennifer Chang versus Flora Haney. Also returning on the card is Autumn Norton versus Brittany Cloudy. Shout out to Brittany Cloudy. I've talked to her, interviewed her. She's going to be making her return to Invicta. She signed a contract with them for, I think, a couple fights, but I might have to ask her to make sure, but I think it's for multi-fights. Victoria Leonardo versus Liz Tracy, flyweight division. In the strawweights, we got Jessica Del Boni versus Erica Tiburcio. She's also making a return. She's been away after she had a baby, I think for like 3 years, so she's been out of there for a while, just like Toya Walker. So she's going to make her comeback. Bantamweight fight, Lisa Souza versus Raquel Canuto. And the title fight, Ashley Cummins versus Alicia Zapatella. Shout out to Chelsea Chandler. I was asking her, did they try to put her on this card, but she wants to stay active, put her on the card. She puts a good, exciting fight on. So, I definitely would have liked to seen her fight up here, either at featherweight or bantamweight. She's down to fight either one. But, yeah, that's the card that's coming up. In case somebody tests positive for COVID-19, then, other than that, that's the list for right now. I know the last card out, I think there was a couple positive tests. So, again, like I always say on my videos and shows, this is just going to be another norm. But yeah, that's the card that's coming up. It's definitely something you got to check out. Like if you haven't really checked out Invicta on UFC Fight Pass, it's always worth watching. This card is on UFC Fight Pass at 7 p.m. Central Time. So I think that's like 8 o'clock my time on a Thursday. And yeah, that one's going down, man. But next up, man, this other topic, this is a quick one. I just want to give you my quick thoughts on this, man. Looking at, I just saw, on Instagram a few days ago where Paige was saying she had some good news, and I already heard the rumors that she was going to be signing to either Bellator, or then somebody said, oh, she might be signing to the Bare Knuckle Boxing organization. That's what somebody told me. So I was like, what? And then she posted that contract. It wasn't like the full announcement yet. Then sure enough, next day it was like Paige signing to the BKFC, and it's for like a multi-fight deal, and from what I've been hearing, this bare knuckle boxing organization, they got money. For organization that's not really like out there as popular as the UFC or just like boxing in general, they say they got money. Because you got to remember, even before they offered this contract to Van Zant, there were rumors of Mike Tyson making his return and him being offered like $20 to $21 million. So they're an organization that are just trying to sign stars and make big shows out there. So I could kind of see why Paige is signing, depending on what they offer her. I think it's for like a 3 or 4 fight deal. So with that being said, as far as her making this transition, I guess it was just kind of like it wasn't the same as what Bellator was offering. So she just decided to go with them looking at the numbers, But my thoughts on Paige going to the bare knuckle boxing, man, it's no joke. It's one thing if she would have signed to boxing, then let's say I would have been like, oh, okay, she wants to be a boxer now. I would feel a little bit more safer, even more so than going to Bellator. But bare knuckle boxing is a dangerous sport. It's no joke. You've seen some of these other fighters in the past, just take some of the hardest hits here, damage to I'm not even talking about this organization, but I just seen some people get blinded, damage to their eyes, damage to their knuckles, of course, their jaw, their brain. And Paige Van Zant was never really a fighter that was just solid as far as her striking. It was never something like where she was just technically sound, where I would say, okay, Paige, she can do something with her hands, even in let's say if she was in some of these past UFC fights where you just say, okay, she lost, but I saw something with the hands, her striking is on point. I'd say if she was just a boxer, she would make it, but I've never seen that in her. I've seen her work on different things in the octagon and, come away with wins, but even in her losses, it's just like there's a lot of minor adjustments that she was never able to make, and now when I look at her going to bare knuckle boxing, I'm like, she just doesn't have the hands for it. I don't think she just has the hands for this style of fighting. Beck Rollins, this was actually better for her. When I used to see her in the UFC and in Invicta, I say this girl had nice hands. She likes to brawl, she likes to throw down. Her takedown defense wasn't that good. Her wrestling wasn't that good. So if she wanted to make a transition to just professional boxing or women's boxing or go to bare knuckle boxing, that was definitely a benefit for her. She's that type of fighter. She's tough and she likes to get into a scrap. So that more so benefited somebody like Beck Rollins. But Paige, there was never really a part of her that I said would benefit off of fighting in bare knuckle boxing. But her main thing about it too was saying that, she wanted to prove that she's more than a pretty face. But it's like you're forgetting that pretty face is what's making you money. And it's making you money in more ventures outside of combat sports. And it's always something she's mentioned and boasted about. I won't really say she boasted or bragged, but, she always made it known on her Instagram and in interviews that she was making more money doing Instagram promotions and things like that than she was off of UFC. She made more money off Dancing with the Stars, like one episode, than she did in all of her fights combined. So when you start talking like that, it more so sounds like your heart is not really in the fighting. That your money and your income and everything that's setting you up for retirement is coming outside of fighting. So why would you really want to put that in jeopardy, especially whenever your body and your face or how you make your money? You're constantly posting pictures on Instagram as far as, being a look for the different things you're promoting, or, just being a look for yourself, or being a look for a show that you're going to be on. Your face is bringing in that money. So it's it's almost like contradicting yourself when you say you want to be more than just a pretty face, but then you promote yourself with your face, but then you go to an organization like bare knuckle boxing that could change that face, and that's dangerous. So I feel like you just need to find that line and just come down to acceptance of saying, okay, this is me. I am that pretty girl that can, cross over and promote and do these other things. I had my run into fighting. I had my run at combat sports, and I wasn't as good as I could have been. Of course, I had the heart and I was tough, but I just didn't have the IQ to push myself to the levels of like Rose Namajunas or Joanna. So I am just going to stay in this lane now. Like if she wanted to stay into some combat sports related, as far as like owning the gym or just coming out with, some workouts for other fighters, or if she wanted to train, that's a different story. If she wanted to do that, that's fine. But like actually going into an organization like, bare knuckle boxing, you know, that's even more risk than just going to Bellator now at this point, because like I said, bare knuckle boxing, when you look at it in a technical standpoint, it's not the same as boxing. That's why they're separate. That's why a lot of boxers don't bare knuckle box. You saw Paulie go in there against Artem Lobov, and you see it was a totally different story. Paulie has no power at all. He's a feather fisted guy anyway. So when he went in there trying to bare knuckle box, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, okay, good luck. So for somebody that doesn't really throw hands in the best technical way possible for Paige, then she's really setting herself up for defeat here, and a lot of damage. You got to remember the gloves they wear in MMA, of course, they are close to the knuckles and they got a good feel of how striking is, but bare knuckle boxing is no gloves and it's throwing punches like a boxer. Striking is different than professional boxers, but then once you take the gloves off and then you're fighting bare knuckle and boxing, you're actually turning your punches over. So you're mixing MMA gloves in a way with regular boxing, you know what I mean? But at the same time, no gloves. So you're really going to be getting the feel of how hard these boxers throw their punches and turn shots over, and you ain't got no kicks to save you. You ain't got no grappling to save you. This is just straight up hard knuckles, to face. So Paige has to think of all of that. I've seen some of these women throw down in bare knuckle boxing. I've seen Beck Rollins do it. And, it can be a little stomach turning just by saying, oh, man, like, it's like seeing a fist fight out in the street. You'd be like, damn, they taking some hard shots out here, So for somebody like Paige that, again, wasn't the best technically sound boxer or striker, you gotta kind of wonder how she's going to be able to handle this type of power and these type of, knuckles on face impact. So my thoughts on it, really, like I said, I don't think that she should be doing it. Somebody asked me the other day and I was like, yeah, I don't think she should be signing this deal. Like, she would have been better off signing with Bellator, but signing this deal with bare knuckle boxing, it's dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing. You could lose, like I said, you could lose an eye, lose your teeth, and then you're going to lose your image and you're going to lose your money maker. And I think that's just the problem, like with Paige, she has such a big warrior's heart and this toughness in her that she constantly wants to prove herself. But there comes a time when you just got to say, hey, I ain't got nothing to prove to nobody else. I'd be like, this is me. I am this pretty girl. That's why she got the body work done. That's why she's always showing herself, because it's like, this is what makes my money. But what are you going to do whenever you get that damage in bare knuckle boxing? So when it's all said and done, you just got to come down to finding that line and what works for you, not proving nothing to anybody else. Because even that statement where she's saying she's trying to prove that she's more than a pretty face, who are you trying to prove that to? Everybody else or yourself? I mean, if you already know that you're a pretty person inside and out, you can look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, okay, I'm good. I can accept myself. You don't have to go out there and say, I got to prove something to all of these people that, hey, I'm more than this booty shaker or whatever it is, a girl that shows cleavage. Nah, man, like if that is part of your image, that's part of your image, and that makes you money. So just accept that. But if she does, like I said, she's already signed it, and then when these fights come up, if she's seeking fights, hey, if she want to fight, I'd like to see her have it in a bare knuckle rematch with Beck Rollins. That's going to be her. I won't say it's going to be her first fight. She probably has like 3 or 4 fights. So she's probably going to, take a couple of tune-up fights. And then after that, maybe set up a fight with the champion and Beck Rollins. Because I know Beck Rollins would take this fight. And, like I said, that would probably be a good rematch, just to see how Paige Van Zandt can handle that. Like I said, there's not going to be a head kick to save her. There ain't going to be a head kick to save her in this one, and I got to favor Beck Rawlings in this one because, she likes, she's a glutton for punishment. She likes to go in there, throw hands and take a shot. She showed her hands after a fight, how they looked. And I was just like, damn, So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that, though, as far as it goes for Paige. I'm not really like an all out fan of bare knuckle boxing. Like I'll look at it, every now and then. But like I said, for somebody like Paige that's just making so much money outside of combat sports, she really just needs to stay away from fighting at this point. Especially whenever your last fight out in the UFC wasn't a win. It wasn't like a farewell win. It was just like you having to leave because you faced another defeat. But yeah, man. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about that. About her taking this contract with bare knuckle boxing. But yeah, man. Moving on. Fights this weekend, real quick. I'll just go back over them. I did my predictions on them. Felice Herrig versus Verna Genderoba, and Ashley Yoda versus Olivia Renata Souza. First off, I have to say, for Felice, I gotta say shout out to Felice. She's not taking an easy fight on her way back in. Of course, there is no easy fight right now in the strawweight division. Every fight is hard. So if you think about it, this is a good level to test yourself after being out, 2 years? But at the same time, I was like, yo, this is going to be a dangerous fight for her. I know that Verna Genderoba hasn't fought too many elite UFC fighters yet, and then when she did step up against Carla Esparza, she lost. But I think that going into this one, she could definitely make this a tough fight and definitely come away with the win with Felice Herrig. I know Felice Herrig is coming in after a torn ACL, so we're really going to see if she's going to be able to use her stand-up like she has in the past. Is she going to be able to use her Muay Thai style to kind of nullify the grappling of Verna Genderoba? But yeah, Verna Genderoba is more on a momentum thing right now. I feel like her momentum and her strength is really going to push her through in this fight and really help her. But with Felice Herrig, of course, like I said, she's worked with, she's with her. She's friends with Carla Esparza, so she's constantly being with her. She's definitely going to get pointers on how to beat Verna Genderoba. That's her close friend, so she's definitely going to fill her in on how to beat her. But yeah, like I said, I did my prediction. I'm gonna have to go with Verna Genderoba in that fight. I think it's gonna be a close one, but I think that like I said, she's gonna be the fresher of the two, and she's gonna be able to come away with the win. Ashley Yoda versus Olivia Renata Souza. Yeah, that fight too. I think it's a good strawweight fight. It's two good scrappy young women in the strawweight division. Like I said, they're both tough, never been stopped or submitted. I think that Ashley Yoda, she's a growing fighter where she kind of picks up things in a fight and she gets better and better in each fight. But at the same time, she makes little adjustments here and there, but sometimes it's too late in a fight where I think that Olivia Renata Souza, she's more so technically sound. She's more so technically sound with her hands and her feet to really get her through a fight. And she's tough. So I think her toughness versus how Ashley Yoda brings her toughness in, they both kind of bring it in different ways. Like she's a Brazilian gangster. And then you got Ashley Yoda, the type of girl that says that statement, like, just by her movements, like, oh, you think I'm just a pretty face? Well, I'm coming to kick your ass. That's going to bring like a good type of energy in this fight, So I think early on, Ashley Yoda, she's going to have some success, like I said, she can make adjustments here and there in the fight. But I think that Olivia Renata Souza, when she gets it to the ground, she's going to more so rough Ashley Yoda up and take this fight to the third round. Like I said, I don't really see anybody getting stopped in this one because I know they're both kind of slippery and they both know how to get out of harm's way on the ground. And they both have good chins. I think they both have good chins. Ashley Yoda took some bombs from Mackenzie Dern and stayed in the fight. So she definitely got the heart to stay into it. So, yeah, I go with Olivia Renata Souza in this one. I think it's going to be close, though. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I think y'all already, told me a little bit in the prediction videos for those I made. But, yeah, Moving on, Cynthia Calvillo versus Lauren Murphy. This fight is still in the works for UFC 254. And I think that's going to be on it's going to be on the October 24th card. First of all, I got to say, I like this flyweight fight. I like this one because a lot of people were talking about Cynthia Calvillo after she beat and dominated Jessica Eye, that the title shot would be next for her. And me, honestly, I'm like, no, not yet. That's my honest opinion. I was like, no, Cynthia Calvillo just got here. She just made a statement with a win in her flyweight debut over Jessica Eye. So there's no need to rush a title shot yet. Let's stay in the division and get a little better and go in there against another veteran in Lauren Murphy. I think it's going to be a good matchup because you got Lauren Murphy, who is a very strong, very big flyweight. I think she's a very scrappy flyweight too. She has good hands and very solid takedown defense as well. And then you got Cynthia Calvillo on the other side, another tough, scrappy fighter who can take it to the ground and beat you up. But she's also got some technically sound skills as a boxer and an ability to adapt to whatever her opponent brings. And that's what's kind of made her special as a growing fighter. Like, I don't feel like we saw her best at strawweight, which I really did want to see her fights like Jessica Andrade and Tatiana Suarez. But, I guess, making the weight was trouble. So she did the next best thing and moved up to flyweight in a division where there's a lot of tough ladies. And then you got a good champion, to really test yourself again. So I think Cynthia Calvillo versus Lauren Murphy, this is a fight I'm going to have to do like a separate breakdown video on, but just overall looking at it from the outside right now, as far as it being in the works, I think it's a good matchup because, Lauren Murphy, her last time out, she was able to just dominate and shut out Roxanne Modafferi, who really messed up her chance for a title shot. I think Lauren Murphy has a really good jab. She has really good striking. And again, she has strength. Once she gets on the inside, she can really like control her body and really work those work the takedown defense pretty good. But I think going against somebody like Cynthia Calvillo, I think that she has that level to get Lauren Murphy to the ground and make it a rough and ugly fight. And I think that I think it's gonna be like a battle of the jabs, almost like Lauren Murphy versus Andrea Lee. That was a controversial win for Lauren Murphy, but I think this kind of come down to a good battle of striking, who has the better striking, who can get off first. And if it gets to the ground, I would have to early on favor Cynthia Calvillo, the younger, fresher fighter. But yeah, Cynthia Calvillo overall, man, I think she has some pretty good boxing. She has solid wins over, Joanne Calderwood, Pearl Gonzalez, Pauliana Bateo, all these different fighters, all these different looks. She's outboxed fighters. She's submitted fighters. So she has the potential to be a threat to Valentina. I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me right away, but I think if Cynthia Calvillo is able to dominate somebody like Lauren Murphy the way she did Jessica Eye, and then fights maybe a Caitlin Chikagian, and then maybe fight somebody like Jillian Robertson again. Like I said, there really should be no rush for Cynthia Calvillo. I say, like, if she fights maybe 3 more fights and just looks really dominant, or maybe 2 more dominant wins, then that'll start kind of opening the eyes of the fans to say, oh man, this would be a good fight, Cynthia Calvillo versus Valentina Shevchenko, So I think I'm going to take at least maybe 3 more fights to see what she can really do, like as far as just being more well-rounded, especially in this division, to kind of really, really get used to this strength, flyweight strength and, flyweight power to see what type of threat she can be to Valentina. But Lauren Murphy, I know for her, if she's able to come away with a win, close win, dominant win, either way from here, I know that's probably going to push Lauren Murphy to a title shot next. Of course, Valentina has Jennifer Maia next on November 21st. So once that fight goes down, then I think that'll probably lead to a title shot if Lauren Murphy beats Cynthia Calvillo. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of this fight. I think it's gonna be a good one, man. I think it's gonna be a good flyweight matchup. And October 24th. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Let me make sure. Yeah, October 24th, that one's going down. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section on that one. All right, y'all. And next topic, just did my prediction and breakdown for this fight. DC, Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier, the rubber match. They're about to close a chapter to a very, very good rivalry here. Like I said, man, last time out, looking at both fights, I just saw a lot of good work from DC, able to use a lot of tools in this fight. I think that Stipe Miocic really had his hands full in both fights. Of course, in the first fight, that one ended in the first round. But in that second fight, there was a lot of things that DC was doing that was just kind of leading to him being able to close the show again, or maybe just win a dominant decision. But Stipe capitalized on DC losing his focus, getting fatigued in that third round, and he made that one minor adjustment, that beautiful left hook to the body, consistently landing that left hook to the body until finally setting up that knockout, that right hand up top to drop DC in that fourth round. So I think that going into this one, it's going to be just as tough. It's going to be another tough fight for Stipe and for DC, for the fact that I think that, DC looked at the tape, he looked at the second fight and said, man, like the only thing that messed me up from this win is myself. Of course, that's the one thing people forget. Your own worst enemy in a fight is yourself. And that's what I said when I saw the fight the very first time when it happened. And then when I watched it again just a little while ago, I said, damn, DC, I was like, you losing it here, man. I was like, you losing it. It's not like you losing rounds because Stipe stepping his game up for real. It was just you started losing focus. You started getting tired. You started taking more hits. You constantly letting like Stipe just like close in and hit you with these shots to the head and then go. He just started finding that home with the left hook to the body. I was just like, damn, man. I was just like, he's just like letting it go. And finally, I was like, he's going to get knocked out. And then sure enough, he got knocked out, in that fourth round. So I think that DC is just going to go back really and look at that part, because as far as being, his technical skill, I think that DC had everything he needed to beat somebody like Stipe. He had perfect game plan for beating a taller, longer fighter. He was able to impose his strength, impose his power, impose his boxing skill on Stipe. First fight, 3 rounds of the second fight, it was just until himself. It was just the battle with himself where he lost focus and he lost that energy. So that was whenever he just let the whole fight slip. But I think going into this one here, man, like Stipe knows what he's up against, and he knows that he's going to have to start early. He can't let DC get set into that rhythm. He has to remember that he's the heavyweight champion. He was a former champion with the most title defenses. He's the longer, taller fighter here. He has to remember that. He's got the longer jab, and he has the more technical striking for a heavyweight. He's beat Francis Ngannou. He's beat some of the top guys in here just by taking them apart and knocking them out. So you got to go in there and pose that heavyweight size. But one thing I said about my prediction video is if Stipe is not first and he's not keeping his distance, then he's going to lose another fight. Because DC's being first. He's going in there to capitalize. He said, if you're not letting your hands go, I'm finding my home for these shots. I'm finding that sweet spot. I'm going to keep constantly hitting you with these shots to the head until I knock you out of there. So Stipe, he's the one that really has to go and do his homework. I think, like I said, for DC, it's for DC to just say, hey, I got to make sure my stamina's up. I can't, overexert myself. I'm 41. I got to fight more to rhythm. It's more so him fighting at a good pace, where I think Stipe has to go back and look at some technical things where he says, okay, I gotta be able to stop DC from coming in and taking me down. I got to get my jab going. I got to start get used to fight at my range against this shorter fighter who keeps imposing himself on me. So it's going to be I think it's just going to be a good overall fight where there's going to be adjustments made from Stipe early in the first, in the first rounds. But I think that somebody like DC is going to get settled. He's going to start fighting more to rhythm, where he's going to pick his rounds to box. He's going to pick his rounds to wrestle. And he's going to have to look at the body language of Stipe of when to do this. You just can't go over there and overexert yourself and try to take Stipe down if you're not getting a full-on reaction out of him. if the jabs, if you don't see like Stipe blinking or like not looking confused or if he's not bloody, then that's not a time to really just go jump in there and try to take him down. If you know what I mean, like you just can't go in there and take him down if he's still looking fresh, because you're gonna overexert yourself trying to take down the taller, bigger man. So it's gonna come down to DC just trying to pace himself out this time and fight more. So like the champion he is, don't overexert himself and don't fatigue. So yeah, with that being said, I did my prediction video on it. Go watch prediction video. I'll give you my prediction, my full on prediction. So yeah. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all I got on this episode, y'all. Like I said, I just kind of want to go back and give y'all some news on Invicta FC 42 card coming up. My thoughts on Paige Van Zandt going to bare knuckle boxing. Not something I'm a fan of for her. Because like I said, she just needs to find that line and that acceptance where, she is that girl. Seems like a sweet person, inside and out. So if that's what she wants to just be at this point, just accept that and say, okay, I'm cool with just being with a model now. Ain't nobody else to prove. You got a heart to say, oh, okay, I got to prove, I got to go in there and get myself beat up and busted up, get my ass kicked to say I'm always this tough girl too. There comes a line with that. Like I've known some girls around the way that are pretty, but they can scrap. But they only scrap when they have to. They're not looking for fights. They only do that when they have to. But and again, man, good strawweight fights coming up. Also, let me know what y'all think about Stipe versus DC, which way is this going to go, or just comment on my breakdown prediction when I finish uploading that. So yeah, man, make sure y'all subscribe here on Combo Breaker 99, the YouTube channel. And like I said, I'm actually going to start posting these podcast episodes on a platform, like iTunes and such, like I do with the Jab podcast, my boxing podcast. But yeah, follow me here on Instagram at Combo Breaker 99 and at All Boxing Everything. And yeah, y'all, I'll see y'all after fight night, with my post-fight reactions. And yeah, man, like always, I'm Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.